Today we're going to be talking about our philosophy and practical way we're going to do our cuts. So for me personally, this is the toughest part of coaching. It's not the games, it's not preparation, it's not practices, it's not losing, it's cutting. And for 17 years I've been agonizing over cutting and how we do that. Specifically because I really I'm mindful of the impact it has on the kid, and very interested in the effect the boy goes through, and we've learned a lot over 17 years about that. You know, I think there are other key stakeholders too, though. There's the boy, there's obviously his parents, which we can have some effect on. There's the coaches, the coaching staff, there's the three levels of the program, the varsity, the JV, the freshman. So there's different constituencies there. And then there's the faculty, because how we handle this affects, I think, how kids behave in school. So our philosophy is a no-cut philosophy. Anyone that wants to play has a place in the program. All we ask that they do is that they do the work involved in being a part of the program. So they come to the workouts, they come to the meetings, they do insertions, they do 7-on-7s and lineman camp and those kind of things. It's not about your size, it's not about your experience, it's not about whether you played for us before. We don't care about that stuff. And in addition to that, any junior or senior that comes out for football and does the work, we will keep on the team, the varsity team. So that presents great opportunity, but also great issues. And I will say this, practically, whether you do the work or not, if you come out, we keep you. So you can not practically come to anything. If you show up and you go through camp, we're going to keep you. And really, even if you don't go through camp, like we've had some guys, we think it's in your best interest, we're going to keep you around because we want you to be around us. So that's the philosophy. I think it's a mistake to say, I think when you're talking about including people, including kids, I think it's one of the mistakes I made early on in my career is football can't supersede their lives. You know, so to think that they have these lives, you know, they have friends, they have positions, social positions in their group of friends, they have parents, they have all this stuff, and then you're going to bring them in football, and football somehow is just going to not pay any attention to that, is kind of wild to me. You know, it's arrogant, and it's very, you know, essence, it's arrogant, and it's just doesn't serve any purposes. So one of the things we've talked about from a kid's perspective, and I think it's important to try to understand cutting from everybody who's a key stakeholder, their perspective. And I think you got to start with the kids. We've got to start with the kids. And so is anybody get in touch here with what it was like to be 15, 16, 14 years old, and you're going out for the team, and you might have been not known if you were going to make it or not? Can anybody remember back to those emotions and those feelings, and what were some of the things you were thinking about during that time?
Yeah, I think it's a real anxious situation. Like the way we do it kind of cuts out the anxiety and the exclusivity of the whole process, because that kind of seeps into your life, not just football. It can affect your confidence. If you get cut from the team and your close friends are still on the team, you can feel cut off and maybe not want to associate with them as much. So I think the way we do it is very beneficial, not just in the football sense, but in the kid's life, how it affects them across the board.
Well, let me give you a wrap-up for today's session on how to cut players. Remember, it's always in the context of your transformational purpose statement. Our goal is to help boys become men of empathy and integrity who will lead, be responsible, and change the world for good. We always want to make cuts within the context of what the purpose is of our statement. So when you think about cut, think about this. C stands for courage. I think on the day you need to make cuts, you need to think about the courage that it took for every player to leave the comfort of their homes, to risk failure, rejection, overcome self-imposed limitation. So you want to honor the courage of every player. And then as a coach, you've got to demonstrate your own courage. Cutting is a very difficult, painful decision. But you've got to have the courage to sit down across from that player, look them in the eye and affirm their human value, their inherent worth and human potential. Second thing, the U stands for understanding. You've got to understand the social-emotional impact cutting a player has on cutting a player. Where these are young boys still developing socially, emotionally, morally, ethically. You want to understand the impact that your cut's going to have on that player and then treat that kid, affirm that player, send them out of there either with ways to improve themselves, with an understanding of their own potential to carry on in other avenues of life. And then the third thing, the T stands for time. I think on the days of cut, you need to just carve out your coaching schedule. You've got to take the time to sit with every player. I don't think there's anything worse than posting a piece of paper on the locker room wall. You need to cut out that time of that day, of cut day, sit with your players, give them the affirmation, the validation that each and every one of them did. But remember, if you're going to be a better coach, you've got to be a better you. It takes courage, it takes understanding, and you've got to commit to do the time.